There is a realm and a dimension that we are moving into that you've been asking God for, you've been decreeing and declaring, you've been standing on, and now you're going to begin to see it. Father, I decree and declare now great glory, a new dimension upon your people, tangible power now to touch your people in the name of Jesus. Never the same in Jesus' name.
You serve a kingdom that can't lose. You serve a kingdom that can. It means that every system built to make you fail is under his feet. Every place that's kept you repressed is under his feet. Every government, every law, every rule, and every broken devil that came in to break your life is under his feet.
You are being elevated into your allotted position. You were saved, you were born, and you were equipped and appointed for right now. So it doesn't matter what the enemy tries to do. But let me tell you something. We arrived in St. Louis, and Jesus said, I will be there with you, and this planned attack shall not come to full fruition.
This is no man's battle anymore. Because God says when I'm going to show up, you have to do what? Stand still and watch me.
This was a very special strategic meeting, and God picked every single one of you that are here today. And I truly believe it. I know that God has already touched so many of you.
And the Lord spoke to me. He said, radical acts of obedience will yield supernatural miracles. But to partake in that, you're going to have to line yourself up and be obedient to what God told you.
It was always God's divine plan for the righteous to be in charge of the gold and silver. It was always God's plan. Why now, Pastor? Why the wealth transfer now? Because you and I are in financial boot camp.
God has brought you here for this time, and God is going to rearrange everything concerning you right now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Prophetic Praise Report. This is your boy, Dr. Charlie C.J. Jordan, a.k.a. Charles of the Ritz. As you can see in the title, come on down and let's make a deal. Guys, we are in the midst of something so powerful that is about to happen. This wealth transfer, this death to debt is surely really beginning to manifest. Guys, I want you to be super encouraged, because what God decreed and what he spoke years ago, back in 2014, back in 2013, talking about death to debt, something that the world says that the debt that the USA carries, it's impossible to be erased. But how many of you know, okay, that there is nothing impossible for God? And if we who believe, we know that the impossible can become possible. I'm telling you guys, it's getting ready to happen. Now, if you keep listening to the media and what they are saying, they keep spewing out negative, divisive words, and they are lying through their teeth. They've been lying all the time, even when they present the truth. The foundation of that truth that they are presenting is a lie. Okay? So anyway, have you heard what Chuck Schumer has been saying about Trump's approval rating as far as his first 100 days? That man actually said that he has the worst approval rating out of all the presidents that have ever been president. And I'm like, wow, how can they get away with saying goofy stuff like that? Plus, guys, how many of you really trust the polls? I don't. Remember when they said in 2016, the night before, the election, they said Hillary, the polls had her up in double digits, that this was going to be a landslide. Look what happened. All right. They said the same thing about Kamala. Look what happened. I'm sorry. I just don't trust the polls. But guys, let's look at what is really happening here with these tariffs, Because at first, I wasn't down with the tariffs. I remember my firstborn son, Gerald. He hated it back in 2016. He said, oh, my God, man, this is terrible. But as we saw in 2016, it worked, and it's working right now. More than 75 countries have contacted the president to make a deal. So let's say it together. Let's make a deal. Because I asked Grok this, I asked Grok. Grok said 75 countries have contacted the president to make a deal. Have you heard, or have you heard when Trump said this? He hinted external revenue, not internal revenue. You see, he's hinted that several times. And if you know anything about Trump, man, he doesn't mix his words. And when he says something, he intends to do it. That's just exactly how this man operates. So he's just not throwing that out there just to gaslight people or just to troll people. No, this is something that he has in his heart and in his mind. And like God said, that something is going to take place, a miracle, and it's going to be all praise to God, because this debt will be erased. Did you love the National Day of Prayer, where we had and we seen and we witnessed spirit-filled believers up there, praying, all right, speaking? Yes, a lot of people don't like Paula White. All the heck with that. Man, Paula White is an anointed woman of God. We've worked with her many, many times. She's not perfect, just like you and I. We are not perfect. But God is in the midst of moving. You know what a tariff is? Let's just read it just for the record. A tariff is a tax. Check it out. A tariff is a tax that a government puts on goods imported from or exported to other countries. It makes those goods more expensive, often to protect local businesses or raise government. I keep saying government, but government revenue. So that's what a tariff is. India has come to the table. They are going to speak. All right. Now, is China coming to the table? Let's just see. Look at some of this that is happening around the country right now and what is being, silently reported. You're not going to hear this on the mainstream media. You're not going to hear this on CNN. You're not going to hear this on NBC. You're not going to hear it on the rest of these demon-possessed outlets. But this is what really is going on. This is happening right before our eyes, China exempts a fourth of U.S. imports from tariffs. What we are hearing, Oh, no. It didn't come up. I'm glad I had to go back because I don't know why this happens like this. Let me see here. All right. So what am I trying to add here? I'm trying to add that. Okay, that is StreamYard, man. They changed things up. But look at this, guys. Let's just look at it here real quick. And I'm going to put it over here on this monitor so that I can see it. But as you can see here, that in this report, they are saying that China has exempt a fourth of imports or tariffs on the United States. Or in other words, what's really happening here, guys, let me just read it here. Let me say, pull this right here so I can really see it, because I can't see it from that screen. Okay, China exempts a fourth of U.S. imports from tariffs. As I continually hear that no momentum on the trade deal between U.S. and China is being made, but China quietly exempts about a quarter of U.S. imports. Okay, that's what's happening here. All right, look at this. This report is from China itself, a China outlet. I want you guys to see this. Okay, let me pull this back over here. I need a producer, everyone. You know, I need a producer to help me out here doing this kind of stuff. But I want you to see this right here. All right. Nope, that's not what I'm trying to see. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Let me get it up here like I want to. There it is right there. All right. I want you guys to see this. This is from a China news outlet. Look at that. Okay. Look at that right there. All right. It says it clearly. All right. It says it clearly that Chinese authorities said on Friday they are evaluating the possibility of trade talks with the United States, marking the first and clearest indication that Beijing may be open to dialogue after Washington's unilateral tariffs. So, hey guys, it's beginning to happen. I'm telling you, it is beginning to happen. I'm going to read this powerful prophetic word that Prophet Kim gave on March 25th. Now, the other day, as you saw that I was reissuing or re-releasing that word about Esther, this prophecy is from that same prophecy. March 25th, 2011, this is what God said. I see a president that shall come. And this is not to speak bad about this one. There is a president who will come, and God says he will have absolutely no fear. Absolutely no fear. Now, when God says, not speaking about this one, he's talking about Barack Obama, because this was back in 2011, right? So let's continue. This president would have absolutely no fear. He will be decisive. He will make decisions. How many know that this man is doing this? Prophet Kim didn't know who God was talking about at that time in 2011. No one knew. God knows. And God knew, okay? He will be decisive. He will make decisions. And then in the middle of the restoration of America, rapidly, because of a source of energy that shall come quickly, and because of medical breakthroughs, we're going to get to that here in a minute too, and because of agreements between nations, specifically China. Let me read that again. And because of agreements between nations, 75 countries are willing to come to the table to speak and make a deal. So he says, agreements between nations, specifically China, and God said, they shall say, we never dreamed this would happen. They said that this in Japan would never happen. Can you imagine? Can you see it? Because I can. Can you truly see an external revenue instead of internal revenue? Can you see it? Because let me tell you something. I can see it. I can see it. China is coming to the table because China is not in an economic boom the way the mainstream media is trying to portray it and trying to report about it. No, let me tell you something. I'm going to say something real bold, that the mainstream media and those that run it, they are in the pockets of China. So in other words, China, okay, is powerful. They have infiltrated many things in this country. They have bought land. They have done a lot of things. They have missionaries over, not missionaries, but mercenaries, over here, without a doubt. 18.6 million people crossed over this border without being vetted, without being checked, okay? And we know, we've seen thousands upon thousands of Chinese men coming over, young Chinese men. And they say, why are you coming over here? Oh, we want a better life. Yeah, right. Okay? So China is in a position, they're that close to really taking things over the way they want to. But God said that this shall not happen. So guys, we are really truly about to see a reversal of this that the enemy has tried to perpetrate against you and I. The fortunes of Zion are truly returning. Now, in that prophetic word, God mentioned something about medical breakthroughs, right? God mentioned this about medical breakthroughs. All right, well, let's just talk about these medical breakthroughs real quick, all right? Let me just show you this report, because I just saw this on Fox News just the other day, and I can't find it, about a medical breakthrough with colon cancer, okay? So I'm going to share it here. Now, the last time I started talking about breakthroughs and about cures for cancer, YouTube gave me a semi-strike saying I can't talk about that. Well, Fox News can talk about it, I can. Look what was just reported. Alzheimer's, cancer, and ALS breakthroughs to know about. This is happening. I'm going to have this in the description, okay? This is in the description so that you can go and you can read up on this. Guys, God spoke about breakthroughs. Now, this is what I got to say about this, okay? This is what I got to say about this, okay? God said from, I believe this was back in 2005, 2006. It was 2007. That's when it was. When God began to speak through Prophet Kim, we were in the Pacific Northwest, about cures that would come from the ground, about breakthroughs that will come because of the soil, because there's going to be a shaking that shall take place. And then we shall begin to see a rapid change in energy because of a source of energy that shall come from the ground here in the U.S. and medical breakthroughs. So that's cool what Fox is reporting, but I'm telling you right now that I believe that we have cures for a whole lot more of these things that they said we don't have cures for than what they are reporting, okay? We have a whole lot more of this going on, all right? But this is happening, everyone. This is truly happening, okay? I read this right here, or I got this from Grok. I'm sorry, I keep calling it Grok, but Grok. I got this from Grok about this report on Fox that just happened. I can't find the video anymore. I can't find it. But this is what it says about this colon cancer breakthrough that they just received. Yes, Fox News recently reported on a medical breakthrough for colorectal cancer. On April 28, 2025, they published an article highlighting a groundbreaking clinical trial by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, testing a non-invasive immunotherapy treatment. I'm going to have that in the description as well so that you can read it. That is from Grok. Let me tell you something. What we are witnessing is everything that God has determined and has said. We are beginning to see the end of these non-curable diseases, Alzheimer's, diabetes, cancer, because God said it, it's going to go down. Let's talk a little bit about how these tariffs and not tariffs, but how the media has been talking about how bad Trump is doing. They keep saying this is the worst 100 days, and everything, all that garbage. But let's look at what was just reported here recently. Matter of fact, today. Just check it out. All right? Check this out, everybody. All right. I'm going to spread this up. Listen to this report.
All right, breaking moments ago, the April jobs report just released showing steady gains amid some economic uncertainty. I want to bring in CNN's Matt Egan, who joins me now with more. All right, what are we seeing in the numbers? What is the context here?
Yeah, Omar, we were bracing for a slowdown in the jobs market. We did not get that. We got steady hiring. This jobs market is just relentless. Let me run you through the key numbers.
Yeah, let's do it.
177,000 jobs were added in the month of April. That easily beat forecasts for 135,000. So not even close there. The unemployment rate stayed low. It stayed at 4.2%. When we look at where the jobs are right now, we're seeing solid gains in a number of places. Accommodation and food services, right? Restaurants, hotels, hospitals, healthcare, private education, all of them adding jobs. One place where we saw a loss of jobs again was the federal government as the DOGE cuts to the workforce continue. But still, when we really zoom out here, this jobs market has been solid, right? I mean, 177,000 jobs. That, when we look at the trend, look at this. We saw that March was actually significantly revised lower to 185,000 jobs added. That's down from the original report. So you can see that there really isn't all that much of a change here. And these are still very solid numbers. Now, this is a big contrast to what's shown up in the surveys, right? We've seen so much gloom and doom from consumers, small business owners, CEOs. There's all of these concerns about the economy, about the trade war. One thing I would note is
Okay, yeah, the concern is coming from you people because you are the ones that are reporting this. But you see, they have to, at one point, report what is really going on. Remember that prophetic word that I got when I said that the media, okay, will have to say, okay, they will have to say what is going on. Prophet Kim said that they will have to report the truth. They have to right now. They can't continue to lie because sooner or later, just like what happened with the ABC, lawsuits are going to be administered and they will be coming out of their pockets. That's something else that I'm going to prophesy right now, that the more that they lie and everything that they have lied about up to this point is going to come back and bite them because many will be sued. I'm telling you guys, this is happening. Let's go back. Let's continue to listen to the rest of this. Check it out.
We look at the market reaction. Futures were up ahead of this. They remain up. One thing I would just stress is that this does not mean that the economy is out of the woods, right? It does not take off the risk of a recession, right? Because there is the risk that there's a demand shock, there's a hit to the jobs market that just isn't visible yet in the data, right? That it's something that we could be seeing more in May and
Prognosticators, prophets of Baal.
In June. I talked to RSN economist Joe Bruce Willis, and he told me, look, in some ways, this could be kind of like the last call for the economy, right? Kind of like on a Saturday night, this is the last song. Enjoy it while it lasts because there are all of these risks ahead. So I think the big question is this the calm before the storm? Or is it the calm before the calm? And I think we're only going to get that answer in the next few weeks and months. And a lot of that is going to be decided by what happens with tariffs.
All right, enough of that. Can you see how they love to try to spin things when they have to report the truth? Then they put their, well, you know, this could happen or that could happen. Right. Let's check this out. Look at this one right here. This right here is very, very powerful. We're talking about it looks like the tariffs don't work crowd owes President Trump a big apology. Tariff revenue just smashed records. $15.9 billion collected so far this month alone. I want you guys to see this. This is a powerful report. See, you just heard what that guy just said, right? All of that was just harsh, just crap. This is what is really going on, everybody. It's happening. Make sure the sound is up. Yes, it is. Check this out.
It looks like the tariffs don't work crowd owes President Trump a big apology. Tariff revenue just smashed records. $15.9 billion collected so far this month alone. The White House says it's close to a trade deal, but in the meantime, the money is starting to roll in. Hello, everyone. It looks.
Come on, everybody. What did God say? God says that there will be a death to debt. That this debt that's hanging over this country's head and over all of our heads is going to be removed. Okay? So you know that the enemy is going to fight tooth and nail to try to keep this in effect. But it has already been canceled. So guys, I want you to be super encouraged because God is truly, truly moving. Now I'm going to end with this. They are still reporting, Okay, they are still talking about all of the riots and the unrest that's happening at universities. Harvard is being sued, and where Harvard is trying to sue the Trump administration, and Trump is hitting back saying, I'm cutting funds here and I'm cutting funds there, because they are breaking the law. You break the law, you pay for it, right? So we see all of this that's going on. But this generation is rising up, and they are waking up. I want to play this video of this young high school Gen Z that went to the school board in his area, and he schooled them. This is sort of long, but I want you guys to see this, and I want you to witness, and I want you to be encouraged that our young people are not as rebellious as the reports that are being released are. We have people, we have young men and women that are truly, truly coming into the fullness of this that God has called and anointed and appointed them to do. Listen to this.
I'll take you back to my first day at RHS this fall. The principal came out and gave us a heartfelt speech about equality and standing together. He began to list countless races, such as Latino, Asian, expressing how much they matter and how important they are. But never once did he mention a race or identity that reflects me, or half the kids that were in the class. Now, members of the board, I know you haven't been to school in a while, and I know none of you, or most of you, don't have any kids left in the school district. But you must admit how uncomfortable it will be to be characterized just by your skin color on the first day of school, and be thought that you were wrong just because of your skin color. So I'll never forget the look one of my friends gave me from across the room as we were sitting there listening to this blatant bias being expressed in the so-called equity statement by the leader of our school. To be clear, I don't need you to tell me that I matter, but hearing the condolences given to other races and leaving just one race out, it inevitably you'll start to feel like you've done something wrong. And in our principal's attempt to unify us, he instead created unwarranted boundaries and barriers between his students, pitting us against each other based on characteristics that we can't control. In another separate instance, I was told that writing "All Lives Matter" on the whiteboard was political and could be seen as offensive. When I questioned the teacher after class, she told me that she didn't have an answer and she just had to erase it, and it was quickly erased. There are political signs all over RHS, about specific races that matter, specific sexual orientations that matter, and specific perspectives that matter. But when I questioned the RHS administration about how these signs were political, they told me that they were supporting human rights. So when I questioned why the equity statement couldn't represent all students, they told me that to even ask that question was outlandish and offensive. And when I asked why that was, they told me, quote, "Whites have a pretty good situation right now," unquote. So is that not racism? Disregarding my question merely because of the color of my skin? To be honest, after enduring a year of the people in charge telling me that I'm a racist and I'm privileged and pointing out our irreversible differences, I've never noticed race more. And it's becoming the first thing I notice when I meet someone, which has never before been the case. RHS administration confidently told me that RHS students and staff are happy with their equity statement. But from my experience in talking with other students, this is not the case. I know many kids who disagree with their teachers, but they're too scared to stand up because they're worried that their grades will be docked and their learning experience will be affected. My honors government teacher, I'm not going to say his name, but he's mentioned that Democrats care more about all people while Republicans only care about themselves. And he's also inferred to us that socialism is better than democracy. He even had a statue. He had a statue of a socialist leader in his classroom. I've been told by a lot of kids that they just stay silent and adjust their schoolwork to reflect an acceptable opinion to secure a good grade. I've been approached by multiple teachers who have told me in private that they just want to say that they agree with me and they support me standing up, but they can't say it in front of the class for fear of being disciplined by the administration in some way or losing their jobs. There is clearly only one way to think in this district, and that is that they are teaching their kids to shut up if they don't agree. Now, members of the board, I want you to take a good look at yourselves in the mirror tonight and ask, are you really standing up for the equality of all people, or are you just pushing a damaging political ideology on our students? A fellow coworker at my job, who by the way is of color, discreetly told me that the schools seem to be pushing a very leftist agenda in class. This proved that not everyone is happy with your school, and not everyone who isn't happy is white.
Wow.
Now, due to all these instances I've mentioned and many more that I can't fit in this 5-minute speech, I've decided to leave this district and continue school on a private Christian school online. And there will be sacrifices, and I will not get to walk in the graduation ceremony or attend milestones at RHS, but I will be able to learn in an environment that is not intent on punishing me daily for my skin color and political views. Now, regardless of how you take my speech, whether you just shrug it off as malarkey or Fox News talking points, I encourage you to think about it, because someday I'm going to be a leader. I may be the president, a governor, or just a professional golfer. But I will never stop believing that everybody has value, no matter their skin color or personal beliefs. And it's a shame that you're not going to be able to say that I was an alumni of RHS in District 196. Thank you.
Wow. Mic drop, everyone. But that was powerful. That was so powerful. You know, this whole racism thing is just out of control. Now, I want you to listen to this brother and how he explains to Stephen A. Smith the problem with Black America, the problem with so many Black people that says that the Democratic Party is for them. But for decades, I mean, since the 60s, I believe, they haven't done a doggone thing for the Black community. Nothing. I want you to listen to what this brother has to say, and I'm going to end with this, okay? Now, there may be a commercial that pops in and cut in. We'll just get past that. Listen to this.
Think about D.L. Hughley. I've said this before you came on the show today. I'm like, listen, you can't sit up there and talk mess about somebody, all right, and then expect them to do business with you. You've got to be willing to compromise. You got to be willing to cross the aisle, figuratively speaking, in his case, because he's not a politician. You got to be willing to work. You can't be about denigrating the president for every damn thing. Like there isn't a single thing that he says that he doesn't do right. Everything he says isn't wrong. Everything he says isn't off kilter. Some things he said he does have a point about. There's no question about that. I push back on you when you try to lay, like somebody like a D.L. Hughley, when he pointed out how Trump challenged his nationality, whether he was born in the United States or not. Let's not forget that. When we point to issues, when we talk about what have they done for us or what hasn't been done for us, when we see a guy like Clarence Thomas and others, you speak against affirmative action, but you benefited from affirmative action. When we hear Trump come into office and literally a plane collides with a helicopter and he's blaming DEI with no evidence whatsoever, and they're questioning the meritocracy of something or the merits of something, and all of those kind of things are taking place, we do find ourselves, and I think D.L. Hughley is absolutely entitled to find himself uncomfortable with some of the things that he is seeing. You see, he might have gone too far by saying what he said. I think he did. Anybody that goes to the White House, anybody that communicates with Trump, I think that's beyond the pale. But him being skeptical, him questioning some things, I don't think that's off kilter, Officer Tatum. I don't.
Well, Stephen A., if his skepticism was genuine, I agree. My father has skepticism of Donald Trump and things that are genuine. My dad is a good man, and he's acting in good faith, and he don't hate white people.
But how do you know it's not genuine?
I think he has a big issue, and he hates white people deep down in his soul. And that's why everything white people do, he has a criticism. When white people get in a shooting against Black people, he has a criticism. I guarantee you I haven't seen his take on the kid in Dallas that stabbed a young man in the heart. I guarantee he took the side of the Black man. Let's go back to the birther thing. The birther is an argument about the validity of Barack Obama's birth certificate started with Hillary Clinton. And there was a whole bunch of other politicians outside of Donald Trump. Donald Trump piggybacked off of things that people had already established. D.L. Hughley, I mean, we can go down a list of all the other things that you said. His skepticism of policy. What policy is he referring to that Donald Trump is doing that's against Black people? Last time I checked, building the economy helps build Black people's pocketbook. Last time I checked, when you're talking about immigration and getting all these illegal aliens out of our country, spending taxpayer dollar, Black people pay taxes. That helps and benefits the Black community. When you think about Clarence Thomas, this is a Black man who worked his way up and decided that we do not need affirmative action because it discriminates against all people. It discriminated against Black people because there are Black people who are qualified that are not necessarily associated with this affirmative action thing. You know, they may have a family, they come from a good family, a good household, and they're not associated with getting a handout because their parents did the work and their parents put them in a position where they're not considered lower income or people who benefit from affirmative action. But also, it's time for us to move forward. We can't keep living in the past, Stephen A. I mean, my God, I just saw a movie that came out called Sinners. I haven't watched it, but the preview of the movie and some of the dialogue around the movie is another movie projecting black people in the 1930s, and it's the white man against the black man. When are we going to stop this mess? You know, the Underground Railroad's proliferation and success didn't come from just black people. There were good white people who never owned slaves, who never had nothing to do with slavery, who risked their lives to help Harriet Tubman get black people to freedom. In the history of this country, there has always been good white people that have done positive things to affect change that benefited black people. Now, there have been racists, there have been knuckleheads, but generally speaking, in the totality of circumstances, in the American experience, there's nowhere else on planet Earth black people can go and benefit and prosper and have a level of success than in the United States of America. And
wow, I could go on, but that's a pretty long interview. But guys, you heard what he said, and that is correct. That is absolutely correct. But you know what? When it comes to a lot of my brothers and sisters, you're speaking to a wall with some of them because it's hardwired into their minds. Okay, that we are still back in Jim Crow, that white people like California, they have the audacity to say that white people in California will have to pay black people back for the slavery that they put upon black people. Well, the black people today, they didn't have to experience that. Why is it that they benefit from that kind of stupidity? Okay, it's just crazy. It's hard for me to even talk about it. That's why I stumble across my words, because I'm 1,000% against it. And I agree with Tatum there. I agree with that brother. It's time for us to see exactly where we are. Okay, let me tell you, black brothers and sisters, this. Barack Obama became the first black president of this country. Prophet Kim Clement prophesied that. He got ridiculed by a lot of people, saying, no, man, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. He got called false prophet here, false prophet that. The first time that word came out of his mouth was in 1998. 10 years later, in 2008, Barack Obama pledged to be the 44th president of the United States. That word came to pass. Now, let me ask you something. Black people, did we put that man in the White House? Did your vote, okay, without the white vote, put that man in the White House? Because we only make up about 13% of the population in this country. We only make up 13%. So do you think that our vote only put that man in the White House? No, it didn't. It took America to vote that man into the White House for 2 terms. America did it. We have to get away from that, okay? So anyway, I just wanted to end with that. I went a little longer than what I intended to. So guys, I hope you guys are enjoying this. I want you guys to share this, okay? Share this. I want you to know that we are about to enter a time to where prosperity will be likened unto the days of Solomon when he was the king of Israel, where prosperity was the norm. When Queen Sheba, okay, the Queen of Sheba, when she came to visit Solomon, she couldn't believe the wealth and the prosperity that was in Israel at that time. It's coming to America. I'm telling you, it's coming to America. So, hey, I love you guys. I want you to know that you're somewhere in the future and you look so much better than all this garbage that's going on. And when Jesus is in effect, Jesus is truly by your side, our side. We put that devil in check. And one more time, I want you guys to know that next weekend, May 9th and 10th, I'm going to be in Atlanta. ATL, here we come. The glory of America, the glory of God is coming. And we are going to be there. Dr. Manny Johnson is going to be there. Dr. Rand Shuffman, Apostle Darren is going to be there. And I need to look this man's last name up. My goodness. And then Bo Polney, okay, is going to be there, yours truly. And the host, Dr. Brett and Marianne Watson. We're going to be there on May 9th and 10th. Scan that Q code there and register to be a part of this great event, okay? Hey, I love you guys. I see you guys Monday on Prophetic Praise Report, all right? Peace. Oh, come on, man.